In a world that glorifies the chase, chasing success, chasing love, chasing happiness, have you ever stopped to wonder? Why does it all feel so exhausting? Why does the more we cling, the more things slip through our fingers? Think about it. The job you desperately wanted but never got. The person you loved who pulled away the more you tried to hold on. The dream you obsessed over, only to watch it fade into disappointment. And then, just when you finally let go, something unexpected happens. Opportunities open up. The right people show up. The things you once begged for suddenly start flowing effortlessly into your life. This isn't luck. It's not magic. It's a powerful truth hidden in plain sight. Imagine this. You're standing by a river, reaching into the water to grab the perfect, smooth stone. But the harder you grasp, the more the current fights against you. The water distorts your vision, the stones slip from your fingers. Yet when you relax, when you simply allow, the current brings the right stone straight into your open hand. This is the power of detachment, a timeless lesson deeply embedded in Buddhist wisdom. The more we cling, the more we suffer. The more we trust, the more life aligns in our favor. But in today's world, this goes against everything we've been taught. We've been conditioned to hustle relentlessly, to control outcomes, to never stop chasing. But what if the real key to peace, success, and even love isn't about holding on tighter, but about letting go? In this video, we're unlocking the 7 powerful lessons of detachment, why it's the key to living freely, attracting what's meant for you, and finding peace in a world of chaos. By the end of this, your entire perspective on life will shift. You'll learn how to stop forcing things, stop suffering over what you can't control, and instead, allow everything truly meant for you to flow effortlessly into your life. Stay with me until the end, because these lessons are life-changing. Let's begin. Why this matters. We live in an age of control and obsession. Social media bombards us with images of people who seem to have it all: wealth, relationships, happiness, making us feel like we're constantly falling behind. We chase approval, success, and love, often forcing things to happen before their time. And in this endless chase, we burn out. We become anxious. We feel lost. But Buddhism teaches a radically different approach: non-attachment. When we learn to detach from outcomes, we don't stop caring. We simply stop suffering. We begin to trust that whatever is meant for us will come at the right time. This is not just philosophy, it's psychology. Studies show that people who practice detachment experience less stress, make better decisions, and live more fulfilled lives. How do we master this? Let's explore 7 powerful lessons that will change the way you think about success, happiness, and destiny. Lesson 1. The more you chase, the more you push it away. Think about water. Imagine a still, crystal clear pond. If you plunge your hand in and thrash around, what happens? The water turns muddy, chaotic, and unclear. But if you simply let it be, the water calms itself. The mud settles. Clarity returns. Life works the same way. The more you force things, the more resistance you create. The more you desperately chase after love, success, or happiness, the further they seem to drift away. Have you ever noticed this? The job you were desperate to get, but didn't. The person you pursued too hard, who pulled away. The happiness you searched for in external things, only to feel empty once you got them. Why does this happen? Because attachment breeds desperation, and desperation repels. Buddhism calls this upadana, grasping, clinging, holding on too tightly. The Buddha taught that attachment is the root of suffering. When you fixate on something, when you make it your sole focus, you unknowingly create fear. Fear of loss, fear of failure, fear that it won't happen. That fear creates tension, and that tension pushes what you want further away. Think about a person who radiates confidence versus someone who is needy. Who do people naturally gravitate toward? The one who is secure, content, and at peace with themselves. This applies to everything in life. Whether it's relationships, success, or even happiness, when you chase something out of lack, you push it away. So what's the solution? Shift your focus inward. Instead of chasing, Become the kind of person that naturally attracts what you want. If you want love, become love. Cultivate self-love. Radiate confidence, and the right people will come. If you want success, master your craft. Improve your skills, build discipline, and opportunities will find you. If you want happiness, stop looking for it in external things. Find contentment within, and joy will naturally arise. The secret isn't in chasing, it's in becoming. When you stop grasping, you allow life to flow. And when you let life flow, everything meant for you finds its way effortlessly. Lesson 2. Detachment does not mean indifference. Many people misunderstand detachment. They think it means not caring, not feeling, or becoming emotionally distant. But this couldn't be further from the truth. True detachment is not about avoiding life. It's about experiencing it fully without being controlled by it. Imagine holding a butterfly in your hands. If you grip it too tightly, you crush it. But if you keep your hands open, allowing it the freedom to stay or fly away, it will likely rest with you longer. This is the essence of detachment. Buddhism teaches that attachment leads to suffering because it creates dependence. When you tie your happiness to something external, a person, a job, a goal, you give away your inner peace. Suddenly, your well-being is no longer in your control. If things don't go as planned, you feel devastated. If people don't behave the way you expect, you feel betrayed. But here's the truth. Detachment is not a lack of care. It's a deeper, wiser kind of love. It means loving without clinging, giving without expecting, and enjoying without fearing loss. It means fully engaging with life while understanding that nothing lasts forever. Think of the ocean. The waves rise and fall, but the ocean remains. You are the ocean. Your thoughts, emotions, and experiences are the waves. When you understand this, you stop getting lost in temporary highs and lows. This doesn't mean you stop working toward goals or stop loving people. It means you do so without fear, without desperation, and without losing yourself. You learn to enjoy the moment without needing to possess it. Detachment does not mean avoiding emotions. You can feel deeply while remaining unattached. It does not mean running away from relationships or responsibilities. It does not mean losing motivation. You can work hard while remaining detached from the outcome. So how do you practice true detachment in daily life? Love freely without ownership. Appreciate people without trying to control them. Give your best effort, but release expectations. Focus on the process, not just the outcome. Accept change as natural. Understand that everything in life is temporary. Detach from validation. Your worth is not determined by others' approval. Meditate on impermanence. Recognizing that everything changes brings inner peace. When you master detachment, you don't become indifferent. You become free. Free to love fully. Free to work toward your dreams without fear of failure. Free to experience life with an open heart rather than a clenched fist. Lesson 3. Everything has its own timing. Have you ever felt frustrated because something you desperately wanted wasn't happening fast enough? Maybe it was a job, a relationship, or a goal that seemed just out of reach. No matter how hard you pushed, the results didn't come when you expected them to. But then, when you least expected it, when you finally let go, things suddenly started falling into place. This is the reality of life. Everything happens in its own time. The more we force things, the more resistance we create. But when we trust the process, when we surrender to life's timing, what's truly meant for us arrives effortlessly. Imagine a seed planted in the soil. No matter how much you water it, no matter how impatient you get, it will not sprout before its time. If you try to pull it out of the ground to make it grow faster, you'll only destroy it. Life operates the same way. Just because you don't see immediate results doesn't mean progress isn't happening beneath the surface. In Buddhism, this concept is closely tied to karma and impermanence. The Buddha taught that every action plants a seed, but it blooms when the conditions are right, not when we demand it to. This is why patience is a form of wisdom. When you rush, you interfere with the natural rhythm of life. But when you trust, you allow things to unfold in their perfect time. Think about the moments in your life when things seem to fall into place effortlessly. Maybe an opportunity showed up when you weren't even looking for it. Maybe you met someone important when you least expected. That wasn't coincidence. It was the natural flow of life working in your favor. The problem is, we often try to control when and how things happen. We attach rigid expectations to outcomes, and when life doesn't meet our timeline, we suffer. Here's how to shift your mindset. First, stop measuring progress by external timelines. Just because society says you should achieve something by a certain age doesn't mean your path should look the same. Some people find success early. Others bloom later. The timing of your life is unique to you. Second, release the illusion of control. Take inspired action, but don't cling to results. Your job is to plant seeds and nurture them, not to demand instant growth. Focus on effort, not outcomes. Third, practice patience with trust. When you feel impatient, remind yourself that life is always working behind the scenes. Sometimes delays happen because you're not ready yet. Sometimes what you want isn't actually what you need. Let go of the struggle and allow life to surprise you. A powerful way to reinforce this is through meditation. When you sit in stillness, you realize that everything comes and goes. Thoughts, emotions, even desires. Nothing stays forever. This helps you develop inner peace, even when life isn't unfolding the way you expect. There's an old Zen story about a student who asked his master, "How long will it take me to reach enlightenment?" The master replied, 10 years. The student, eager to speed up the process, asked, "What if I work twice as hard?" The master smiled and said, "Then it will take you 20 years. The lesson? The more you rush, the longer it takes. Growth cannot be forced. True progress happens when you are present, patient, and open to life's timing. Everything you desire, every goal, every dream, every meaningful experience will come when the time is right. Not a moment too soon, not a moment too late. Trust the process. Focus on becoming the best version of yourself. What's meant for you will arrive exactly when it's supposed to. Lesson 4, surrendering brings freedom. Have you ever noticed how much of life's stress comes from trying to control things that are completely out of your hands? We try to control people's opinions, force situations to work in our favor, or cling to outcomes that were never guaranteed. And what does this lead to? Frustration, anxiety, and disappointment. But what if the key to true peace wasn't in controlling more, but in surrendering? Surrender is one of the most misunderstood concepts in life. Many people think surrender means giving up or being passive. But in reality, surrendering is an act of great inner strength. It's about letting go of resistance, accepting what is, and trusting life's natural flow. Surrender does not mean inaction. It means choosing peace over struggle. Imagine you're swimming in a river. If you fight the current and try to swim upstream, you exhaust yourself. But if you surrender to the flow and let the river carry you, you move effortlessly in the right direction. Life works the same way. The more you resist what is, the more you suffer. The more you surrender, the freer you become. Buddhist wisdom teaches that suffering arises from attachment to expectations, to outcomes, to control. The more tightly we grip, the more pain we create. But when we release our need to control everything, something magical happens. Peace replaces struggle, clarity replaces confusion, and freedom replaces fear. Think about a time when something unexpected happened in your life. Maybe you lost a job, ended a relationship, or faced a major setback. At first, it may have felt like everything was falling apart. But looking back, you can see how that situation pushed you toward something better. Maybe losing that job led you to a new opportunity. Maybe that heartbreak taught you self-love. When you stop fighting life and start trusting it, things naturally work out in ways you never expected. But how do you actually surrender? How do you stop resisting and start embracing life as it is? First, recognize what you can and cannot control. You cannot control how people treat you, but you can control how you respond. You cannot control every outcome, but you can control your effort. Shift your focus from control to trust. Second, embrace uncertainty. Life will never go exactly as planned. The more comfortable you become with the unknown, the more free you will feel. Instead of fearing what's next, get excited about the possibilities. Third, develop faith in the bigger picture. In Buddhism, there is a belief that life unfolds in perfect balance. Every experience, whether good or bad, is part of your journey. Even painful moments serve a purpose. Surrendering means believing that everything is happening for your highest good, even if you don't understand it yet. One of the best ways to practice surrender is through mindfulness meditation. When you sit in stillness and observe your thoughts without attaching to them, you train your mind to let go. You learn that you don't have to react to every thought or control every situation. You simply allow things to be as they are. There's a powerful Zen story about a farmer whose horse ran away. His neighbors said, "Oh no, how terrible." The farmer simply replied, "Maybe." The next day, the horse returned with 3 wild horses. His neighbors said, "How wonderful." The farmer replied, "Maybe." Then his son tried to ride one of the wild horses, fell, and broke his leg. Again, the neighbor said, "How terrible." The farmer replied, "Maybe." A few days later, the army came to recruit young men for war, but his son was spared due to his injury. The neighbors rejoiced, saying, "How lucky." And once again, the farmer said, "Maybe." This story teaches us a profound truth. We never know the full picture. What seems bad today might be a blessing tomorrow. Surrendering means trusting that life is unfolding exactly as it should, without needing to label everything as good or bad. The more you resist life, the more you suffer. But the more you surrender, the more peace you experience. Surrendering doesn't mean you stop working toward your goals. It means you release the need for things to happen in a specific way or at a specific time. You trust that what's meant for you will come. And that's the true power of surrender, freedom. Lesson 5, learn to observe, not react. Have you ever been in a situation where someone said something hurtful, and before you could even think, you reacted, maybe with anger, frustration, or sadness? Later, when your emotions settled, you realized that your reaction only made things worse. This is the trap that so many of us fall into, reacting impulsively instead of observing mindfully. In Buddhism, one of the most powerful teachings is non-reactivity, the ability to observe life without being controlled by it. The Buddha taught that suffering is not caused by what happens to us, but by how we react to it. When we learn to observe instead of react, we free ourselves from unnecessary pain. Think of a calm, still lake. When the water is undisturbed, it reflects everything around it with perfect clarity. But when the surface is disturbed by wind or waves, the reflection becomes distorted. Your mind works the same way. When you react impulsively, your perception becomes clouded by emotion. But when you remain still and observe, you see reality as it truly is. Why do we react so quickly? Because we are conditioned to. Our minds are wired for instant judgment. We label situations as good or bad, right or wrong, pleasant or unpleasant. And because of this, we get caught in an endless cycle of emotional reactions. One moment happy, the next frustrated, then anxious, then excited. It's exhausting. But here's the truth. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are the observer behind them. The moment you understand this, you take back your power. So how do you break free from this cycle? How do you learn to observe instead of react? Step 1. Pause before you respond. When something triggers you, whether it's an argument, criticism, or unexpected bad news, pause. Take a deep breath. Give yourself space between the event and your response. Most people react instantly, but if you take even a few seconds to breathe, your response will be much wiser. Imagine someone insults you. Your immediate reaction might be to defend yourself or fight back, but if you pause and observe, you realize something important. Their words only have power if you give them power. Instead of reacting, you can choose silence. You can choose peace. Step 2. Watch your thoughts like a cloud passing in the sky. Buddhist monks practice vipassana meditation, which teaches them to observe their thoughts without attachment. Instead of getting lost in emotions, they see thoughts as passing clouds. They come and go, but they do not define the sky. Try this. The next time you feel anger, frustration, or fear, instead of reacting, simply watch it. Notice how it rises. Notice how it peaks. Notice how eventually it fades away. When you practice this, you'll realize that no emotion lasts forever. Step 3. Understand that other people's actions are about them, not you. When someone is rude to you, it's easy to take it personally. But what if their behavior has nothing to do with you? Maybe they had a bad day. Maybe they are struggling with their own pain. When you learn to detach from other people's negativity, you protect your inner peace. There's a Zen story of a man rowing a boat in a foggy river. Suddenly, another boat crashes into him. He shouts angrily, "Watch where you're going!" But as the fog clears, he realizes the other boat is empty. His anger disappears because there's no one to blame. The lesson? Most of the time, the other boat is empty. People's actions are a reflection of them, not you. When you understand this, you react less and observe more. Step 4. Choose peace over being right. Ask yourself, do you want to be right or do you want to be at peace? Many people get trapped in endless arguments because their ego wants to win. But true wisdom lies in knowing when to step back. Not every battle is worth fighting. Think of the Buddha. People insulted him, challenged him, even tried to harm him. But he remained calm. He understood that reacting with anger only feeds the negativity. Instead, he responded with silence, with wisdom, with peace. Step 5. Train your mind like a muscle. Observing instead of reacting is a skill, and like any skill, it requires practice. Start small. The next time someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of getting angry, just observe the feeling. When someone annoys you, instead of reacting, just breathe. Over time, this practice will change your life. You will feel lighter. You will feel free. Because when you learn to observe, not react, you step into your true power. Lesson 6. Silence is a superpower. In a world that never stops talking, silence is a rare and powerful force. Everyone is rushing to speak, to prove a point, to be heard. But the wisest people throughout history, monks, sages, philosophers, have always understood one thing. Silence is not weakness. Silence is power. But why is silence so powerful? Why do those who speak less often command more respect? The answer lies in self-control, observation, and inner strength. Think about this. Have you ever been in a conversation where someone stayed quiet only to speak at the perfect moment, saying just a few words but making the biggest impact? That's the power of silence. When you learn to control your words, you command attention, protect your energy, and master your emotions. In Buddhism, silence is a key practice. The Buddha himself often remained silent when asked unnecessary or unwise questions. He understood that not every thought needs to be spoken, not every reaction needs to be expressed, and not every battle needs to be fought. And the Stoics knew this too. Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, once said, "You always have the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control." This is the essence of silence, choosing inner peace over unnecessary noise. So how can you use silence as a superpower in your own life? Step 1. Silence helps you control your energy. Your words carry energy. Every time you speak, you give a part of yourself to the world. But most people speak without thinking, wasting their energy on gossip, complaints, or unnecessary debates. Imagine your energy as water in a cup. Every time you talk, you pour a little out. If you speak too much, your cup runs empty, leaving you drained and exhausted. But when you practice silence, you conserve your energy, keeping your mind clear and focused. Try this. Spend one day speaking only when necessary. You'll notice something interesting. Your mind becomes sharper, your presence stronger, and your words more impactful. Step 2. Silence makes you a master observer. When you are silent, you notice things others don't. You see people's true intentions, hear what's not being said, and understand situations on a deeper level. Picture a skilled chess player. The best players don't rush their moves. They observe, analyze, and then act with precision. Life works the same way. When you slow down and stay silent, you gain clarity and wisdom before making a decision. The next time you're in a conversation, listen more than you speak. Notice body language, tone, and unspoken emotions. You'll be surprised at how much you learn. Step 3. Silence protects your peace. Not everything deserves your reaction. Some people will try to provoke you, to pull you into arguments, to drain your energy. But you don't have to respond. Think of fire. If you stop giving it oxygen, it dies out. The same goes for negativity. When someone insults you, criticizes you, or tries to pull you into drama, stay silent. Let them waste their energy while you keep yours. Silence is not weakness. It's choosing peace over ego. The strongest person in the room is not the one who shouts the loudest, but the one who remains calm. Step 4. Silence commands respect. Look at the most powerful leaders in history. They don't talk endlessly. They speak with purpose, clarity, and precision. People respect those who choose their words wisely. Imagine you're in a meeting. Two people are speaking. One talks nonstop, explaining every little detail, while the other listens carefully and only speaks when necessary. Who do you think will be taken more seriously? The one who speaks with intention. When you reduce unnecessary talking, people start listening when you do speak. Your words hold weight because they are rare, thoughtful, and meaningful. Step 5. Silence deepens your connection with yourself. When was the last time you sat in complete silence? No music, no phone, no distractions, just you and your thoughts? Most people fear silence because it forces them to face their inner world. But this is where true growth happens. In silence, you hear your intuition. In silence, you understand yourself. Buddhist monks practice silent retreats for this very reason. When the outside world quiets down, the inner world becomes clearer. You start to notice your thoughts, your emotions, your patterns, and through this awareness, you grow. Try this. Spend 10 minutes a day in complete silence. No talking, no distractions. Just observe your thoughts. Over time, this practice will give you a level of self-awareness and inner peace that most people never experience. Final thoughts: speak less, say more. Silence is a superpower, but only if you know how to use it. Silence controls your energy. Speak only when necessary. Silence makes you a better observer. Listen before you react. Silence protects your peace. Not everything deserves your response. Silence commands respect. People listen to those who speak with purpose. Silence connects you with yourself. In stillness, you find clarity. Power is not in saying everything. It's in knowing what to leave unsaid. The strongest warriors fight the battles that matter. The wisest people speak only when their words bring value. Practice the art of silence, and you will master not just your words, but your life. Lesson 7. Detachment leads to ultimate happiness. Detachment is often misunderstood. Many believe it means cutting off emotions or not caring about anything. But in reality, detachment is about freedom. Freedom from suffering, from expectations, and from the need to control everything. Think about this. How often do you feel stressed because something isn't going your way? How often do you feel frustrated because someone didn't act as you expected? These emotions don't arise because of the situation itself, but because of your attachment to how things should be. Buddhism teaches that suffering comes from clinging. The more we hold on, the more we hurt. But when we detach, we experience true peace. Imagine you're holding a rope tied to a heavy boulder. The more you pull, the more tension you create. The boulder isn't moving, and all you're doing is tiring yourself out. But if you simply let go, the tension disappears. The weight was never yours to carry in the first place. Life is the same way. We try so hard to control every detail. Our careers, our relationships, our future. But most things are beyond our control. The more we resist reality, the more we suffer. Detachment is the practice of letting go and allowing life to unfold naturally. But here's the paradox. When you stop forcing things, they begin to flow. When you release expectations, you open yourself to greater possibilities. What's meant for you comes effortlessly because you're no longer pushing it away with resistance and fear. How to practice detachment in daily life. Detach from outcomes. Do your best, But let go of obsessing over results, whether in work, relationships, or personal goals. Focus on effort, not control. The right things will happen at the right time. Stop taking things personally. Not everything is about you. People's actions and words often reflect their own struggles. When you detach from personalizing situations, you gain emotional freedom. Live in the present. The past is gone, and the future is uncertain. Worrying about them only drains your energy. Focus on the now and trust that life is unfolding as it should. Accept change. Nothing lasts forever. Clinging to what was or fearing what will be only creates stress. Instead, embrace the flow of life. Change is not the enemy. It's the path to growth. Practice stillness. In moments of uncertainty, pause. Breathe. Observe your thoughts without reacting. Stillness is where clarity is born. The ultimate truth about happiness. Many believe happiness comes from getting what we want: a dream job, a perfect relationship, financial success. But have you ever noticed how, after achieving something, the joy is often temporary? That's because external things cannot provide lasting happiness. Real happiness comes from within. It's not about gaining more, but about needing less. When you detach from the belief that happiness is somewhere out there, you realize it was always inside you. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Buddhism teaches the same principle. The fewer attachments you have, the lighter you feel. The less you crave, the more at peace you become. So here's your challenge. This week, practice letting go. If something doesn't go your way, instead of reacting, take a deep breath and observe. If an expectation isn't met, instead of feeling disappointed, remind yourself that something better may be on its way. Let life happen and trust that what's meant for you will always find you. And remember, happiness isn't in the next achievement, the next relationship, or the next milestone. Happiness is here, right now, inside you. The moment you let go of needing it from the outside world, you'll realize it was never missing. It was always within you. That is the power of detachment. Detachment is the ultimate freedom. When you stop chasing, forcing, and fearing loss, life unfolds effortlessly. What's meant for you will always come, not through control, but through trust. The Buddha taught, you only lose what you cling to. So ask yourself, what are you holding on to that's holding you back? Let go. Trust the process. Detach, not to give up, but to make space for what truly belongs to you. If this message resonated with you, drop a comment. What's one thing you're letting go of today? Like, subscribe and turn on notifications for more life-changing wisdom. This is Buddhism Pathways. See you in the next one. Until then, let go, trust, and flow.